but it is what it is. But without further ado, I would like to introduce JoeKoh here, who is going to present Resident Evil 4. Please introduce yourself and just tell me whenever to start.
Hi, how's it going everyone? My name is JoeKoh27, or you can refer to me as Joe, and today I'm gonna be presenting a Resident Evil 4's new game professional speedrun, the original version. And I have here with me, with my co-commentator. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. I'm ShulaRune. I'm a somewhat less experienced runner of this game, but hopefully I'll be able to keep you all up to date on what's going on.
You're gonna be fine. Alright, sure. I guess we are ready. I'll count it down on 3. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go.
Resident Evil 4.
All right, well, welcome to Resident Evil 4, all-time classic game in my opinion. So if you don't know, in this game, our hero Leon S. Kennedy has to investigate this Spanish village in order to find the president's kidnapped daughter. So to start, we run into this house and gun down the homeowner in 4 shots. We're playing on professional difficulty. On professional, it always takes 4 shots to kill that guy unless you get a lucky critical headshot. And then we shoot this crow who is for some reason carrying a grenade, and then we switch to the grenade. Whenever Leon is running with this open hand animation, with either a grenade, a rocket launcher, or nothing, he runs about 4.5% faster. So you're going to see us all the time switching to grenades to run faster. We call them running grenades. Yeah, so the main difference between professional and normal is on normal there's a dynamic difficulty. On professional, it's locked to the highest difficulty. Strangely, that makes professional slightly preferred for speedrunning because it makes enemies' behavior more consistent. All sorts of things change with the difficulty, the enemy's aggression, how many enemies, how much damage you take. And here we're in the first major village section, set piece of the game. Here we either need to survive for a certain amount of time or kill about 16 enemies. Obviously, killing the enemies is preferred over waiting out the timer. If you last saw this game a few years ago, the way we do this might be a little different. So after we kill that lady with the shotgun, we're going to run to a specific spot and then throw this grenade at a precise angle in order to hopefully kill the rest of the enemies to trigger the ending. But before the ending is actually triggered, we grab this incendiary as quickly as we can and reload. So that way we get the incendiary and a reload cancel. And that was beautifully done by JoeKoh. Everyone seems to have their own setup for how to throw that grenade, but it's very easy to miss. Runners reset all the time from throwing that grenade wrong, not killing enough enemies, and not triggering the end of the sequence. But JoeKoh did it well.
And you saw this, we got the first treasure of the run. So throughout this run, we'll be visiting the merchant multiple times to get weapon upgrades. So we will pick up some treasures along the way. So this game does have a kind of strict, like a money route, but it's not too strict. It's kind of lenient as well, because like there's quite a bit of like backup treasures you can get along the way as well.
Yeah, so ideally we want to grab certain treasures and also get a certain amount of RNG money drops.
So the 1-1 chapter is coming to an end. There's not much really gonna happen here. It's just you're gonna see me run to the end of the chapter, and I'm gonna inspect the closet to get Louis out, and that triggers the end of 1-1. Oh, okay, that worked.
Yeah, that's actually how you want to do it if you don't, hesitate and stop running for a minute.
And
so we grab that right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we grab that rifle ammo, which we're gonna use quite a bit later. And for this part, we just kind of want to run through all these enemies as quick as we can. There is RNG in this section. So yeah, this is another common reset point for the run. We got to grab these 2 halves of the key. So there's the first half, and then we jump down here. So depending on the RNG, sometimes there's a guy with a white shirt there who's ready to hit you. This time it didn't happen. And as we get to the top of this hill, there's going to be another white shirt guy who can be standing in various positions.
Oh, that is bad. That was my fault.
No, I don't think so. I think as you were running up, I knew that was a bad position. It was kind of in the middle. You want him to be standing either on the right or on the left so you can run to the other side, but when he's in the middle like that, it's just kind of really hard to avoid him.
Yep, he's still RNG.
But that's okay. We have a first aid spray. We wanna save that first aid spray if we can, but we'll use it if we get hit on one of these early sections.
So there's a very specific movement coming up. Let's see if I can get the door. Oh, I got it. So when Leon is close to like explosives, when the explosive like explode, if you're close to it, then you will have like the stagger animation and it loses time because you're not able to move for the time being. But if you do other animations like kicking enemy, opening a door, or basically any other animation, it will basically cancels out the stagger. So if you can get to the door before the dynamite explodes, that is ideally what we want, which we got it. That's nice.
Yeah, that's a very tricky movement. If you're just like a millisecond too slow or whatever, you'll get staggered.
Stop. It's fine.
Yeah, JoeKoh got a little confused on that puzzle. You should be able to solve it in 2 moves.
Yep, the solution to that puzzle is 1 and 3. I pressed 2 by accident, so I'm gonna spend a bit more time to get it back. And here we're just gonna run through everyone. And let's see if the guy decides to block my way. And wow, he's gonna let me pass. Thank you.
Yeah, that white shirt guy has 2 patterns. He can run to the right or run to the left. If he runs to the left, you have to shoot him in order to get past him. Running to the right is a little bit faster. And this tunnel is where we're first going to do business with the merchant.
Yep, so for the merchant, you're gonna see us, we're gonna get a lot of rocket launchers, because rocket launchers is crazy OP in this game, if you ask me. They one-shot pretty much everything, and it only costs 30,000, which is relatively cheap compared to other guns.
What are you selling?
Okay, so we'll be buying a lot of rocket launchers throughout the run in order to kill mini-bosses quickly, and sometimes not bosses.
Sometimes we use it to clear obstacles, because there was one chapter later we will use a rocket to remove an obstacle that blocks us. Which normally for that part you have to like do a detour to get the dynamite, but with a rocket launcher you can just kind of skip it. So now there's just more running. There's not much happening here. Basically you're just running past all the enemies.
Yeah, in this part of the game we're sort of building up a grenade collection. This game is sort of the thing about speedrunning. This game is it's not only about running through each part and executing everything properly. You also have to think about your inventory, not only like what you collect and where you collect it, but also how it falls in your inventory. Because when you're messing around in your inventory, you're using up time. We don't want to use up time, so we try to route everything so that things fall predictably in our inventory, so we know where everything is, so we can spend as little time switching weapons, moving things around as possible. We grabbed a flash grenade from that crow in the previous room. For some reason, crows really like holding grenades in this Spanish village.
Okay. This game does not like me.
Yeah, so you're supposed to be able to shoot these trip mines quickly by pressing aim and shoot at the same time.
Yeah, but I messed up my position, so I shot at the air instead of the trip mine. That was on me. So we're gonna get one more treasure in the bird's nest.
With treasure, at least it makes a little bit of sense for that to be in the bird's nest, because curs love shiny things. Or so I've heard. I guess they also like putting grenades in their nest for some reason. Doesn't seem very safe.
So coming up, we have a boss fight. So, do you wanna explain this?
Sure. So this is Delago. In this part, we are in a boat, and we are connected to this guy by a rope. We're not allowed to use our regular guns, so we need to kill him with harpoons. The first part of the fight, we have a pretty specific sequence, but after that, RNG comes into play.
So in
we
different difficulties, I believe it takes different amount of harpoons to die. On professional is 12 harpoons, so I had to hit him 12 times, and we got a dive. So the pattern he can do is like he can either keep swimming around or he can dive in. So ideally we would want it to like stay afloat so that we can keep showing the harpoons. If you get a dive pattern, you lose some time, and I missed a harpoon there.
Yeah, so this was not an early dive, but it was sort of like a mid-level dive. Like ideally you want him to never dive.
Yep, got it.
And that's it. So not a terrible Delago. I would keep running if I got this Delago.
Yeah, that was okay. Late dive is fine, but early dive it really mess with your time if you are going for a top time. I think I would say like if you are at like a very top level, like a world record level, if you get a early dive, I would say essentially your run is dead. So after killing Delago, and Leon passed out, and we woke up like 6 hours later, and it's now nighttime, so we have to get back to the village and rescue Ashley.
Yes, and now that it's dark outside, we're going to see the Plaga enemies. So when enemies die, there's a chance that their head will explode and a tentacle Plaga will come out the top. It doesn't happen in the daylight hours, but now that it's nighttime, we can see them, and those guys mess us up pretty bad. They're weak to flash grenades. That's their secret weakness. So we can instantly kill them by throwing a flash grenades, but usually we don't, because those flash grenades are routed for certain uses. Yep, so we just bait these guys, run past.
And now we have the brown insignia, and we are gonna head back to the church to get Ashley out of the holding cell.
Yeah, the whole reason we had to detour out here past the church, which we ran by earlier, was to get that key to unlock the church. So now we make our way back. Only now that the villagers have deployed a little surprise for us. The first really major boss that we're going to fight at El Gigante here, really difficult.
And he's dead.
And he's dead.
Oh,
But unfortunately,
I did a mistake. Damn.
Yeah, unfortunately, JoeKoh took damage from that rocket as well. That happens if you run forward a little too far. So
That
luckily we
yeah,
can
that usually never
combine
happens.
these. Yeah, luckily there's healing in this arena, so JoeKoh just grabs another herb, combines with the herb that he has, and now we're back at full health. You don't want to be running at you don't want to be running in
the
critical
caution.
damage because
Yeah. You'll move slower, I believe. You'll move slower in yellow health. You move even slower in red health.
I'm not sure about that. I think it's the same when he's in that limping animation.
So here
Do
we
we have
are.
time
you know,
for a donation?
Sorry?
Do we have time for a donation?
Sure. Guess
Right, we have two actually. One is from Anonymous, who donated €5 and put the money towards the swap soundtrack to DLC in Resident Evil 4 Remake. But no comment, sadly, Satch. And then we have €5 from actually me, who put €5 towards the bonus boss fight for the next game that is coming up. And I have a question for you guys, which is, which version of Resident Evil is better, the original or the remake?
Leon, shoot those berries on that wagon.
I guess for the question, it really depends. Both are great games, I would say. Capcom really killed it like both times.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't actually played the remake yet. I've got it installed on Steam, but this game is one of my all-time favorites, so I have a hard time believing that the remake will dethrone it in my heart. But still, I'm looking forward to it.
So we are back to the first village, but except for this one, we are just gonna run past everything, hopefully.
Yep, this is the same village area where we fought a bunch of guys the first time.
This is bad.
That's unfortunate.
I'm just gonna reset
Yeah,
checkpoint just because I don't have any heals.
Yeah, this is a quick checkpoint, so resetting that checkpoint probably saves more time than trying to run without heals.
That pitchfork guy can really mess you up.
Yeah, and you might have noticed we have Ashley with us now. Somewhat infamously, you don't just save Ashley at the end of the game like Princess Peach or whatever. You have to escort her out of the village, so she'll be with us for quite a lot of the game from now on. But as far as escorts go, she's one of the most tolerable in gaming. For the most part, she sticks right by you if you tell her to follow you, or you can tell her to wait, in which case she stays right where she is. The most annoying thing she does, in my opinion, is if an enemy gets right up to her, she stops running and just crouches where she is, which pretty much just allows her to be grabbed. But other than that, we can actually abuse her AI a bit to our advantage in certain parts. Alright, and this is the cabin, one of the big stress points of the run. Here, sort of like the original village, you pass it either by surviving for a certain amount of time or by killing a certain amount of enemies, around 40, I think.
Yep,
so we want to kill the 40 enemies. So we're gonna kill the 40 enemies, and the way we're gonna do that is by throwing a bunch of grenades. So we come in here. This is sort of going bad, but we're still alive. All right, so we enter the crab. So we enter the cabin with 3 grenades, and then there's a 4th upstairs. So after we throw those 4 grenades, we're going to kill the rest of the enemies with the shotgun by camping at the top of these stairs here.
So we're just gonna let Luis do the majority of the kills, and we're just gonna clean up whoever does come up the stairs. Because the 40 kill limit is total kills for on both you and Lewis. It's not only just you, so we kind of just spam up here and let Lewis do most of the job. And in this room,
Right,
you can see the Plagas enemy, like up to 2 Plagas can spawn at the time. So ideally we want to keep the Plagas at the bottom of the stairs. So by shooting the leg, if not, the Plagas might be able to stun lock Lewis, like what's happening right now actually.
Yeah. Oh, it's over. So that was a pretty good cabin, except for the damage, but we survived. The worst thing is when you use up your healing items and take more damage and then pass. So you're in caution
You're
next
basically
chapter because
limping on the whole chapter. It's either you limp all the way or you spend some money and you get a first aid on the merchant.
yeah, you don't get a healing item until you get to Mendez. There have been times when I've had to limp through this chapter all the way to Mendez. I call it the 2-3 limp of shame. And so you don't really want to take any damage because you would combine those herbs into a red, green, yellow herb to sell later. We can't do that because we needed to use the red and green herb to heal ourselves, but fortunately there's backup money coming up in a little bit.
Yep,
Now
you
we're just
lose like a few seconds if you get the backup money, but it's still better than killing your entire run.
yeah, unless you're May, because I don't have a top time yet. So I would sometimes just keep going even if I had to limp through this chapter. But so we just passed by the gate that leads out of the village, but we have to take this gondola down to a torture house at the bottom of a ravine because we need to confront the village chief Mendez in order to get the key to escape the village. In this gondola ride, we need to shoot these enemies or they'll throw axes at us. But aside from just clearing out all these enemies, Joe is also going to be using up the last of his handgun ammo to get it out of his inventory because we're not going to need the handgun after this. So we're gonna be selling pretty much our entire inventory and buying a whole new inventory.
I have a lot of ammo. Damn. Wow.
Yeah, it seems he's got a lot of extra
Oh
ammo.
my god.
So you saw he was sort of just shooting and reloading to try to see when he was out of ammo without having to open the inventory and check. So when he reloads and he loads to less than the full 10 rounds on the clip, that's when he knows that he's out of ammo in the inventory.
I think I picked up extra on the way out of the cabin because there was like ammo drops at the cabin door, so it's kind of in the way, so I had to pick it up before I can open the door. I think that's where the extra ammo came from.
Yeah, but now we're coming up on where we're going to fight Mendez, and you see we've got our fire grenades equipped. We've been sort of stockpiling these throughout the whole village. That's because fire grenade is sort of this guy's weakness. So we start by throwing one, then we pick up one, throw another. 4 fire grenades is basically all it takes to dispose of this guy. So we've thrown three for now, and with the 4th one we try to hit both Mendez and that explosive barrel so that the grenade damage and the barrel damage stacks and kills him. If you miss the barrel, he won't die, and you'll have to use a handgun shot to explode the barrel to finish him off.
And I believe the damage is tied to the game's frame rate. So on 60 FPS versions of the game, which is Steam or the 7th gen consoles and above, which is like, sorry, the 8th gen consoles and above, which is a PS4 or Xbox One, they Mendes dies in 4 grenades, but on 30 FPS I'm pretty sure it's different. I'm not sure the exact amount of grenades, but I'm pretty sure it's different on 30.
Yeah, for a lot of enemies, fire grenades do like a certain amount of damage when they explode, and then a certain amount of damage per frame as long as the enemy is in the fire.
I think it's just a trend for Resident Evil games to tie damage with frame rate. I believe that's what they use in 2 remake and 3 remake as well, especially with the knife. Because I see people like the speedrunners, they abuse the 120 frame knife like all the time to fight bosses.
And here is the last use we have for the handgun. We need to take out this truck driver so he doesn't run us over. And he's dead, so now we switch to our grenade and we get ready to run to the castle, except we're going to pick up some money here. That's the backup I mentioned earlier.
Yep, so now we are coming to the castle, and this is the end of the village chapter, and we are gonna visit the merchant to make our first major inventory change. We are pretty much gonna sell everything, and we are gonna get a completely new inventory.
Alright, so we sell the handgun, all our treasures and our healing items, and we're going to buy first the semi-auto rifle and the TMP. The TMP was available earlier, but this is where we buy it, and also a rocket launcher. Can't forget that.
We're gonna do some quick inventory management to move the ammo so it doesn't it gets in the optimal position, and we're gonna snipe this guy up here so that he doesn't bother us, and we're gonna just run past everyone.
Yep, so you'll see in a little bit, guys are going to start shooting at us with catapults. Each catapult is manned by a zealot who needs to load each rock into the catapult to shoot it. So by shooting that guy way at the beginning, we take out the catapult that would have... that's unlucky.
That's the first time I've seen that, actually. I didn't know Ashley can die right now. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think I might have do it too slow. I might have asked her to follow me too slow. That's honestly the first time I have seen Ashley die to that over my 300 hours of running this game. Wow, that has never happened before.
I've never seen that. I'm not sure what your mistake was.
I might have been too slow on that, yeah.
Wait.
It's fine. Oh, that is unlucky as well. I just hope Ashley don't die again. Okay, we're fine.
Okay.
We're fine.
So yeah, so by killing that guy with that sniper round at the beginning, we took out the catapult that would be shooting at us while we're rotating this crank. And since we leave Ashley at the stairs there, we distract that zealot with a scythe who would otherwise come up and attack us. And a little oddity of this room is as soon as you fire that cannonball, all the enemies in this room despawn, even the guy who was carrying Ashley. So Ashley just drops to the ground right where she was and rejoins us. And now we're ready to move on. Now we come into this small little room. What we need to do is we need to grab these two swords and switch them. But while we're doing that, we're going to leave the room really quick and re-enter in order to reset everybody's position. If you take too long in this room, then a bunch more guys start spawning with scythes, and we don't want that to happen. So we just reset the room really quick, and that lets us switch the swords, open the door, and be gone before anybody bothers us. And next, Ashley's holding that door open for us while we grab this key.
That's one of Ashley's main uses, actually, is to act as a door stopper. Oh, and I messed it up.
Yeah, so you want to have Ashley hold that door open and then tell her to follow as you run past her, so you don't have to kick. Joe just pressed the follow key a little too early. It's fine. It's not the worst thing that can happen in that room. there's a chance that an enemy will go after Ashley and grab her while you're getting the key. If you do that, you just need to knock that enemy down before you get out, but it takes up a little time.
Well, coming up, we have another kind of boss fight. This is the Garador. He's a blind Wolverine man that with the weak spot is the Plagas at the back. So we're gonna do 5 quick sniper shots to hit the Plagas. So we are doing quick scopes because it actually fires faster if you do quick scope. Like you unscope and rescope, you can fire immediately instead of just waiting for the rifle to load itself. And we place Ashley, you might have noticed I placed Ashley like right in that hallway there, which is to manipulate the enemy AI to go for Ashley instead of coming to bother us. And that doesn't work. Probably placed him a little bit too deep. Ashley's gonna die.
This looks bad.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, that went bad. So we're going to have to fight the Garador again.
Well, this time
So
at least
that
we can
mean-
do the
that
safe
means
strand. We'll fall back to the safe strand.
So that means that Ashley's no longer in the precise place we put her, which means we need to do a backup strategy after we kill this Garador again. We kill the Garador with a pretty precise sequence of 5 shots. Basically, it takes 4 rifle shots plus... It takes 4 Plaga shots plus a body shot to kill him. Or you can just use 5 Plaga shots, but yeah, basically he used a precise sequence, and then we just kick those guys and knock them down, run past them, and then we come up on the water hall. Very infamous sequence in this game, whether you're speedrunning or running casually. We start by just hucking this incendiary grenade right high into the air. We want it to hit that red zealot and the 2 shield guys, and then we hook it down to this basement where we need to hold down these 2 pressure plates.
Alright. Let's just hope nothing goes wrong. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, a lot of things can happen in this room. So you really need to just run this room 1,000 times in order to get familiar with everything that can happen and everything you can do to. So, but by having Ashley crank and then throwing that flash grenade in a specific spot, we blind the 2 crossbow guys who would be shooting at us, and then hold everybody off until Ashley can lower these stairs, and then we do a loop to get around these scythe guys, and then we are at the second part. JoeKoh did a little reload cancel there. He told Ashley to wait, and then reloaded while Ashley came to him and triggered the cutscene, and then he reloaded a checkpoint.
Yeah.
All right, so the game saves a checkpoint when we get to this upper level, and if we don't load that checkpoint, then all those guys from the bottom level would still be after us, but by loading the checkpoint, we despawn them all, so we only have to worry about the guys who spawn as part of the second sequence. So here we need to protect Ashley while she turns 2 cranks on this upper level, and a bunch of guys will come after her and try to kidnap her. So by doing a bunch of quick headshots, we take out all the guys who would be immediate threats to Ashley, and that gives us time to run back to this lower level and collect some stuff that we missed the first time. So firstly, Joe's going to go for this velvet blue and some money and a couple of grenades. And then he's also going to be sure to shoot that guy on the second level. Most of the guys who come after Ashley are going to walk menacingly towards her, but for whatever reason, there's one guy who spawns in a running state, and if we don't get him, then he's going to run all the way towards Ashley and kidnap her, and we don't want that. So we shoot him once, and we don't need to kill him. We just need to shoot him because that knocks him out of his running state, and when he gets up, he'll be walking and won't make it to Ashley in time. So after that, we're pretty much home free. We just need to pick up the last the last items and then make it to Ashley in time to catch her, and then we leave the room. And that's that.
That went really well, actually. Because it might look simple on like when you are seeing other people doing it, but this room is arguably one of the hardest room to learn when you're running a game. Because there's just so much that can happen in the room.
Yeah, this is one of the rooms that that runners make sure to practice the most. Even top runners practice this room a lot. It's like you not only need good muscle memory to execute well, but you also need to be ready for all the different things that can happen. Alright, so now we're going to run through the sewers here, where Salazar has unleashed his miserable insects. So these are the Novistadors. Some of the most infamously RNG enemies in the whole game. Here they're not as bad as they will be later on, but you know, things can go wrong.
Things can go wrong.
One thing we do with Novistadors is camera manips. When you run straight at a Novistador, sometimes he'll do this jump attack and trigger a kick prompt.
Oh, this is bad. Oh, I just got comboed. Yeah, that can happen when you get hit. When you get hit, there's a chance you're just gonna get comboed to them, and there's nothing you can do. It's not as bad in the first one, but when Novice 2 and 3 coming up in the later section, that's gonna be worse.
Alright, because here at least the Novistadors are confined to the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see Joe had to do a kick there. So if an enemy does their jump attack and triggers a kick prompt, then you want to hit that kick. Because if you don't, then it's like 99% likely that the Novistador will hit you.
Oh, that is bad, actually. I got stuck again. I think I'm just gonna save that herb and wait until I get to the next room, which has a red herb. But I'm not sure if I can outrun the red zealot that goes in the door.
I think you should be fine. Obviously, you'll lose a little time on these rooms from limping, but yeah, you basically just need to exit the next room before the flash grenade wears off. So yeah, that was a little unfortunate that Joe took 2 hits from those Novistadors, but hey, he survived. So here he throws a flash grenade.
I'm actually just gonna shoot him. I hope I can make it in time. Oh, I didn't? I forgot about that. I actually forgot about that. We're good, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Alright, so what JoeKoh did there was basically he knocks over that red zealot with the TMP, and that stops the... and that skips the cutscene. So those guys are in the middle of their prayer or ritual, whatever, and if they become aware of Leon, it triggers a cutscene where they escape the room and slam the gate behind them. But we skipped it, and now we're coming on the now we're coming on a pretty well-known trick. It's the incendiary trick for this red zealot. So normally you're supposed to follow a sequence where you chase this guy around the room, and eventually he gets on a mounted machine gun. And in order to ensure that that you follow this sequence, they made him invulnerable while he's standing here in this first area. So by throwing that flash grenade at a precise angle and then jumping down to trigger the cutscene, he becomes I think this is how it works, but he becomes affected by the flames while he's in the cutscene, and his invulnerability wears off. So he becomes affected by the flash grenade and does his weird cutscene dance there, like you saw, and that lets us keep him near us so we can quickly dispatch him with the rifle and then grab his key. It's very easy to miss that grenade, and if you do, you have to do a kind of backup strat where you snipe him on the balcony. But we got past him. And here JoeKoh's just kind of dodging all these enemies in order to grab this goat ornament, which we'll need later.
And it's just more running sections, so probably nothing much coming up soon. So if there is any donations, I guess you can read them.
Yes, we'll need to run through this hedge maze that's full of Comilo Plaga wolves, but it's not very difficult. You just kind of have to run the right way, basically.
But I believe this part, like for most of the casual players, are probably one of the more terrifying parts, because like the dogs can just like jump out of nowhere. But for speedrun wise, it's not too bad. It's just keep running and just avoid the dogs and you're all good.
Yeah, funnily enough, it's actually easier to just run through here and avoid all the dogs than it is to fight them. Most casual players will try to fight the dogs, but if you do that, they're really fast. They can sidestep to avoid your shots, and then jump on you before you can do anything. Here he does a little camera manip. By doing that quick turn there and then looking up, he prevents any of the dogs in front of him from attacking. And then we just get out, combine those two keys, and then we're out of here. So those dogs can actually chase you all the way up to this room if you let them. So we want to get out quickly. They seem to be despawned right after the cutscene with Ada, but if you save at the chapter end there and then load the save, then the dogs will be after you again.
I don't think that despawn, they just lose aggro, I believe. I believe that's what's happening for some weird reason.
Yep.
And for now we are coming out with another... Oh, please don't hit me.
That's unfortunate.
There's another Gyarados, but except for this one, we're just gonna skip it. We're just gonna grab the treasure and we're gonna be on our way. And there are two shield guys are gonna open the door. Let's see what they do.
Now this is a good pattern, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they don't open that door and wait, you can just kick the door in their face and run past them. That's basically the best pattern.
I'm gonna use a mouse here just because it's easier.
Yep. And here we finally catch up with Ashley in the trap that she fell into like 3 chapters ago. So now we have to cover Ashley while she's below us. So we start by killing those 3 guys. We destroy that pot so we can get the treasure later, and then we get these rifle bullets. So now we just we're going to reload and wait for Ashley to trigger the next cutscene. After that, we're going to fire 1 rifle round into the red zealot and then throw a grenade. And hopefully, if we throw the grenade with the right angle and timing, it'll clear out all the enemies below us. And it seems like Joe got it. So that's really good. So now Ashley's just going to get the key and leave. So we want to grab this treasure and reload before this cutscene, ideally. And now we're playing as Ashley.
Yep, the section that nobody asked for.
So yeah, Ashley doesn't have any weapons. So here, the only way to destroy these 2 zealots is to throw lanterns at them, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're gonna open this part of the gate before they zealot nearby notices us. As we turn the second crank, the zealot notices us, but hopefully we can open it just enough to be able to escape before he grabs us. Well done.
There is a fun fact for the Ashley section. If you're playing on a Japanese copy of the game, the Ashley section actually has like the old school static camera instead of like your over-the-shoulder third-person camera, which I'm not sure why. It seems it's like kind of weird. Because if you play on the all other versions of the game, like Europe or like the US versions of the game, it's all over the shoulder. But only the Japanese copy of the game has like the classic, the static view in the specifically for the Ashley section, which makes it harder to navigate if you ask me.
Yeah, and that's consistent across all the many ports of this game too. All the Japanese ports have the classic camera, and all the US and European ports have the over-the-shoulder camera. So who knows why they decided to do it that way. But if you have the Steam copy and you want to try out that classic camera, you can try that out with the mod RE4 tweaks. That gives you an option to enable the classic Japanese cameras.
You can either use RE4 tweaks, or you can just go to the speedrun.com on the Resident Evil 4 resources section. There's an archive of like the Resident Evil 4, the executable file, the .exe file. So here's another thing, like to switch versions, this game is really easy. All you have to do is get the .exe files and you just replace your exe. That's literally it. There's really nothing else you have to do. And we are coming up to the end of the Ashley section. So we're gonna reunite with Leon.
All right, together again at last. So here we could take a left there and ride the minecart, but first we have to take a detour into this inexplicable lava room in order to get another key that we're going to need later. So somehow this Spanish castle has an active volcano inside it. So JoeKoh takes out that zealot on the dragon statue, and that causes a treasure chest with some treasure to appear. So now we take out this second dragon statue by shooting these chains 3 times, or 2 times.
I honestly have no idea that you can just shoot the chain down before I started to run this game. Like, as a casual player back then, I never knew you could do that.
Yeah, but you have to be careful not to shoot too early or the hitboxes won't be active yet. And anyway, on the way back, we grab this treasure that we spawned earlier by shooting the first dragon guy, and then we get out. So this carousel thing in the middle kind of puts this whole room on a cycle. So it basically doesn't matter what you do as long as you hit the cycle, and JoeKoh did, so well done. Good fire dragon room.
I mean, even if you miss the cycle, it's like not big of a deal. It's like, I believe it's like 8 seconds time lost. Like, if you miss the cycle, it's automatically you are down 8 seconds, but it's not really too big of a deal. Right,
Yep,
and
and now that we
back at the Chimera
now
wall.
that we have these keys we need, we're back here at the front gate of the castle where we passed by, like, what, 7-8 chapters ago. So since we've been all over the castle and got these 3 keys, now we can finally open this wall and go deeper. So up here, Leon needs to get 2 more keys in order to open a gate in front of him. Here he's going to get the Queen's Grail.
Wait.
So So after we push down these 4 pressure plates, we're gonna go through a spike trap room, but JoeKoh is gonna try to sort of undermine Salazar by taking out the trap before he falls into it. So by shooting those 4 lights before we practice the cutscene, before we
like activate the cutscene and the trap.
activate the cutscene, the spike trap will basically immediately stop. And then we grab the Queen's Grail and get out. We'll see that spike trap one more time later on, but the second time we won't be able to destroy it early. For whatever reason, this spike trap has the lights active before we trigger it, but the next one does not have the lights active until we trigger it. So now we're in the King's Grail room. Here we need to take out some knights in order to escape after we grab it. Somehow the Plagas are able to pilot a suit of armor. It's like in this one instance they're able to survive without a host somehow. So we take off their helmets with 3 quick rifle shots, and that exposes the Plagas, and then we use a flash grenade to take out all the Plagas at once. So now comes the second round. 3 more guys, so we do the same thing: 3 rifle shots and then a flash grenade. You can get bad RNG where you hit their head with a rifle and they stagger, but the helmet doesn't fall off. If that happens, you need to switch to the TMP and shoot them some more to expose the rifle before you throw the flash grenade. And if you're running on autopilot and throw the flash grenade too early, then you just waste it. So that's why runners have to sort of pause for a beat to make sure the helmet's actually coming off before they throw the flash grenade. So now we got the 2 grenades. We just do a follow wait to, or a wait follow to attract those guys. We lure them over to the right side and then loop around on their left, and now we're at Novice 2. So here you can see the Novistadors fly now. That's great. So here's where they become a real RNG pain in the ass. So we throw that flash grenade, and then we take out those chains and throw a second flash grenade, which hopefully gives us the space to get by. And JoeKoh did. That was very good Novistadors. But anything can happen in that room. You can get messed over like without anything you can do about it. So if you're on a marathon or just practicing, you'll just restart the room until you get it. But heartbreaking when you're on a good run or on a PB run and you just get totally messed up by those Novistadors. Here's another little RNG instance. Yeah, so those cannonballs fall in a random pattern. Sometimes you can just get straight through them with no problem. Sometimes they stagger you, which costs you a little time, and sometimes one hits you, which takes you down to critical health. So here we got through without damage, so that's good. Now we climb up to the top of this clock tower. On the way, we need to shoot those 3 pieces of wood so that we can turn these gears and move the bridge into a position where we need it. But now enemies are going to be spawning in the lower parts. So now we need to make it back down to the bottom of the clock tower while avoiding all these crossbow guys. And you saw that crossbow bolt just like barely missed JoeKoh. So yeah, these guys can sometimes just hit you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So here he needs to wait for this dynamite to explode. So he's going to reload his TMP here. Yep, so we just stagger these guys to get past him.
So this room was also kind of a tricky one. Basically, you want to bait all the shield guys and these 2 flare. Please don't, no! That is unfortunate.
that's
Yeah, sometimes
unlucky.
he can do that. So it's like she can just wait there and just hit you with the rocket in the face, and there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, but other than that, the room
Oh,
was
I
pretty
actually
much
missed.
right. So here you fire that rocket down the middle so that it destroys the wooden door. It takes out the Garrador on the left, the one without armor. But the one with armor has a little more hit points, so he doesn't die from the rocket. So you need to take him out with one final Plaga shot towards his back. The rocket makes him stagger forward, so you need to get that rifle shot while he's in that staggering animation. If he stands up, then he'll hide the Plaga from you, and you won't be able to get the shot anymore. So it becomes better to just reload the checkpoint. So here we're going to. So here is where basically everything changes, because here we're going to buy a very special weapon called the Striker, and that gives us access to what we call the Striker glitch, otherwise known as the Dipman glitch, after the legendary GameFAQs runner who discovered it. So the Striker glitch basically, if you aim the Striker but open up the inventory while you're in the middle of that aiming animation before the laser sight appears, and then switch to another weapon, then Leon will be running faster than he's supposed to. So like many animations will cancel him out of this glitch, but other animations will be sped up by this glitch. So this glitch is basically central to how we'll be running all of the parts of this game from now on. For many reasons, obviously. For one, obviously it's just better to move faster. You know, don't you wish every speedrunning game had a glitch that just made you move faster? For two, you can do some sequence breaks in rooms where you can, since you're moving faster than the developers expected you to be able to. And for three, this glitch lets you do some more glitches, which you'll see later. So that'll be really fun. So here we're gonna knock over this.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So here we knock over this liquid nitrogen, and that freezes Verdugo, which lets us kill him with the rocket. Yeah, the rocket won't kill him unless he's frozen.
And one of the uses of the Dipman glitch is that it lets you skip some of the QTEs actually, which use the scene that I did just now, so, which is that the first dodge problem where his tails like come up from the floor. I just kind of like trick him into the position, and I step backwards so that the AI like messes up because you're moving like faster than you're supposed to.
Oh yeah, I was totally tuning out while you did that.
Welcome.
Alright, so here we buy another rocket launcher, which we're going to use in the very next room.
Come back anytime.
So here JoeKoh just bought that rocket, and now he's going to equip that rocket. So here you're supposed to do a whole sequence where you hit some switches and get some dynamite in order to blow up this rock to open the path forward, but if you have a rocket launcher, you can skip all that just by destroying the rock with a rocket. So Joe kind of fired the rocket a little bit behind the rock so that it would take out the rock as well as those two Ganados. And here we're going to use the Striker glitch for a little out of bounds skip. So here you can ride that, what do you call that? That gondola, that gondola thing down. Right, that zip line down. And then after that, the zip line sort of slowly moves back to its original position. But with the Dipman glitch, we can reach the zip line starting point before the zip line has made it all the way back there. And that lets us do the zip line sequence a second time, but starting from where the zip line is instead of where it's supposed to be. And that pushes us out of bounds and lets us skip a whole boss fight where we're supposed to fight two El Gigantes at once. And that just leads us into here, the third and final Novistador's room. So yeah, once again, we're at the mercy of RNG here, but hopefully we can make it out of here with just one flash grenade.
And if the
So
Novistadors, when they're flying, they are a lot more vulnerable than they're on the ground for some reason. Like, for example, these Novistadors, like, because they're still flying, so they die from one striker hit. But if they're on the ground, they're not gonna die that easily.
Right. So as Joe was approaching that second cave, there's like a trigger on the ground that spawns those 4 flying Novistadors. So we try to hit that trigger and then switch to the striker and take out those 4 before they can land. All right, that was very good Novistas. Very good Novistadors in this run, except in the sewer. But at least the flying Novistadors behaved.
Yeah, we'll take those. So there's just more running, and we are gonna approach the underground section, which is gonna lead to the mine cart. Because we need to go underground and get a key item to open the door before we can proceed.
Yeah, most of the castle is just detours to get keys.
Let's see what the guy will do, because this first guy, sometimes he will just rush and hit you, or he will point, which is the good pattern. That's what we want. We're gonna get a key and be on our way. I forgot I took that. Then we're gonna use this
so
to
while
combine the treasure so that we save time instead of like we have to go back to the inventory and do it again.
And here's our second spike trap. So here you have to trigger the spike trap before you can shoot these lights, and in addition to that, these plagas come after you. So you need to kind of keep on the move to stop those plagas from hitting you. So here we are at the minecart. If you played this game casually, you might remember this as a difficult sequence, but here we're gonna skip it with a little out of bounds trick here. So this particular setup only works on the Steam version. You use the Dipman glitch and switch to a 2-handed weapon, and then you can get out of bounds there, and then get out of here before you even trigger the minecart. There is another setup for non-Steam versions, and it's also used in no merchant category because you don't need the Dipman glitch to get it. But since we're playing on Steam, we use the Dipman to TMP setup since it's the fastest. And it turns what would be a long auto-scroller into a
Basically
quick
a
little run.
2-minute running section.
Yeah, and you can see Leon wasn't intended to be able to run on these tracks.
And we are gonna approach the key that we need to open the elevator door. Yeah.
Yeah, we go around the left side there just to stay out of bounds a little longer.
Yep, because if you get back in bounds, then you're gonna trigger the prompt to open the door, which plays a cutscene. You lose like a little bit of time. So we just clip through the wall instead of like opening the door.
Alright, now we're at the Salazar statue, another notorious run killer. Execution here is pretty tight. So JoeKoh Dipmans, and then he fires that one TMP round in order to manipulate that guy into pointing. So we can run by. Then we knock him down, shoot the switch, ride the arm up. So this whole sequence basically depends on the cycle of Salazar's hands. So JoeKoh is trying to hit that lever and then make it down here in time to jump over this hand, and also hopefully not get hit by one of those guys who was on it. But once we hit the 2 switches, we can come to this little QTE where the statue chases us. If I recall, this is the last time that we need to mash the button in order to run away from something.
Yep, and this instance is also the hardest one to get, because when Capcom ported over this game to 60 FPS version, they didn't optimize it properly, because everything in this game is tied to like FPS. So like the game was originally on the GameCube, it was 30 frames. So when they did it on 60 frames, they expect you to mash twice as fast. So a lot of people, like especially for like casual runners, they just die there even though they are mashing it, but they're just not mashing it fast enough. And we are
Yeah, so if you've played,
if
you've played this game on a modern console like the PS4, Xbox One, or Switch, you might have noticed that it's like almost impossible to climb up there, and that's why. All right, so here for this elevator sequence, JoeKoh is gonna switch to keyboard and mouse once again in order to do a strategy where we try to basically knock all these red zealots off the elevator as soon as possible. This elevator will stop moving if there's too much weight on it. Basically, if Leon plus 2 zealots are on here, then the elevator will stop. So ideally, we don't want 2 guys to be on here ever, basically. And if you don't, and your positioning and aim needs to be kind of precise in order to get those angles just right to knock them off. If you're a little bit off, you can have a guy end up being knocked into the corner there, or something like that. But and that's bad, because if you do that, then you need to kill them the regular way, and they have a lot of hit points.
in some cases, if you mess up the execution, it's probably faster to just restart checkpoint, because the enemies, they will continue dropping down, and they will mess with your execution and whatnot. So your run is probably over.
All right. So now here we are at Salazar, another major boss fight of the game, and the final boss of the whole castle. And now he's dead. Yeah, so we bought a rocket launcher right outside from the merchant, who was probably placed there for this exact purpose. So all we need to do is shoot the eye 3 times in order to expose Salazar's body, which is his weak point, and then we fire the rocket, and then he's dead.
Right, then we're gonna visit the last merchant of the castle, and we are gonna be moving up to the island section of the game.
What are you buying?
Okay, so now that we're past the castle, we're past a lot of the major RNG points of the run. Most of the island depends a lot more on execution. However, we do still have Chapter 5-4 at the end of the game, so it's not like we're out of the woods. So here, Joe is gonna do a little out of bounds clip in order to skip this first sequence. Normally, you'd have to do this whole sequence where you have to fight a bunch of guys and also like redirect a laser with some mirrors, but by going out of bounds and then running into that trigger for that QTE, we skip right here to basically the end of this room.
So there's just more running, and we're gonna knife this guy so that this guy doesn't blow us up in our face. Then we're gonna run here, and we're gonna do some camera manip so that the crossbow guy doesn't fire at us, and we're gonna get in the building.
Yeah, so normally you shouldn't be able to reach that door before those guys jump down and start attacking you, but with the Dipman glitch we can make it to the door much faster than the developers intended.
And here we saw Ashley on the CCTV, so that we got her whereabouts somehow. Somehow he can knows Ashley's whereabouts by just looking at the CCTV. And we're just gonna go save Ashley again.
Yep, and there you just saw Joe use the Dipman glitch to do a little skip on that shutter. Normally you shouldn't be able to get through that shutter until you've killed all the enemies behind it. And for that, you need to kill not only those 2 guys with the dynamite, but also 3 guys with a crossbow. And they have a lot of hit points, so that takes a long time. So luckily, we're able to use our unnatural speed to get through the shutter before it closes. Here we encounter the first regenerator. Infamous enemy of this round, but infamous enemy of this game, but we're going to run past most of them. So there's another regenerator in the hallway ahead of us. So JoeKoh just fired a TMP shot in order to aggro him and manipulate him into attacking that way, so we can run past him.
The regenerator is probably one of the least scary enemies when you're in a speedrun, just because they're so slow. But if you're playing it casually, or like you're playing it for the first time, or like casual players, the regenerators can be very scary. Oops, that's fine.
Yep. So once again, we need to detour for a key. You heard Ashley calling from her cell to our right just there, but we can't open it yet. Instead, we have to come this way, run past all these guys. Alright. And this is the only regenerator that we're gonna kill. Technically, this guy is an Iron Maiden, not a regenerator, but he's a type of regenerator, I think. Maybe they're similar. Anyway, we just fire a rocket there. We fire at the wall to kill him with splash damage, and he drops the key that we need for Ashley's cell. So now we just need to get back through this room, but there's a lot of new crossbow guys who've just spawned in. So we need to kind of do a little bob and weave to hopefully dodge those crossbow bullets, but it is pretty much RNG. And now
I might not have enough heals for the bulldozer. I mean the wrecking ball section. I'm a bit worried, not gonna lie.
Alright. Well, there is a green herb to the right before the cutscene at the dumpsters. Sometimes I grab that. So yeah, once again, reunited with Ashley.
Before the dumpster? Wait, so you mean like before we jump down or after we jump down?
Right before the cutscene.
So
So
it's
like
like
right
here?
after this door, right, so just run straight to the right and there should be a green herb.
Oh, okay.
What is that thing?
Wait, follow me.
Yeah, so JoeKoh just did a little wait, follow me there. If you do that, if you do that and then start pushing on the dumpster, then Ashley will start helping you push quicker than she normally would.
Coming up, we have the wrecking ball section. So basically, for this one, we need to pull the lever 3 times for the wrecking ball to destroy the wall, so that we can get through to the door.
So we lift Ashley up on the ledge. That's for the purpose of a manip, and then we just run forward and we
oh no, that is
and we
bad.
pull the lever for the first time, and then we don't skip the cutscene. The reason for that is because the wrecking ball needs to go through its sequence anyway, so it's better to have the cutscene. Oh, that's unlucky. Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Can you
So
not
the
do that? Ashley
Yeah,
is
so the
really.
so the reason we
Yeah.
so the reason we left Ashley up there is because after we pulled the lever the first time and ran past, a lot of the enemies were attracted to her instead of us, and that let us run around without damage the first time. So then we pull the lever the second time and throw a flash grenade in order to stun all the enemies. So ideally, that flash grenade would keep everybody stunned until we get out of here and actually be able to jump down. Things went a little awry, but we made it.
Follow me.
Here, you're supposed to tell Ashley to wait in front of that lever in order to pull these levers together. But with the tip man and a little swing around there, we can.
I'm gonna get some backup
can do things a
backup
little quicker.
items, just in case.
Leave it to me, Leon.
Yeah, and that's everybody's favorite part, where Ashley inexplicably knows how to drive a bulldozer. So this is basically an auto scroller. We need to hold off the enemies while Ashley drives. So this is basically the one part in the game where we have the striker but don't use the striker glitch, since we're on an auto scroller anyway. Going into the inventory to activate the striker glitch would basically just be a straight time loss.
And you're gonna see me do a lot of like running towards the edge of the truck to bait the enemies to attack us, so that they don't jump out on the truck and we can dispatch of them easily. We'll kill the first batch of the enemy, but not for the second batch. We're just gonna run. We're just gonna run like that. Where did he go?
Once you get past that first gate, you can basically just turn around and backpedal into the edge of the bulldozer, and none of those guys will jump on. And
Yeah.
you saw on the right side of the screen there, the guys that JoeKoh didn't kill, they started running backwards. So those guys aren't really dead. They've kind of just run to a particular point, and then this truck spawned in front of them. But since those guys are still alive and they're sort of taking up the spawn counts in this room, that causes a lot fewer guys to spawn on this final wave than would if we had killed all those guys.
Yeah, because
So we need to shoot.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say we need to shoot this truck 4 times during each of these sequences in order to blow it up so it doesn't kill us.
So you might have noticed that the second doorway there's like 2 guys that there's only 2 guys that walked in. Well, normally there's gonna be a bunch more guys. That's because we leave the batch of enemies at the back of the room, so that they are taking up basically the spawn capacity. Because there is a limit in this game on like how many enemies can the game spawn at one time for each room. That is bad luck.
Right, so in this part, we need to hit that lever. We basically just used Hitman to run through and hit it as quick as we can. But JoeKoh got pretty unlucky as he jumped down that ladder. And like 99% of cases, you can just jump down, equip the striker, and take out these 2 guys. But instead he got grabbed. It's a little weird because normally people who have weapons shouldn't be able to grab Leon, the reason that he could was because he was actually headed towards Ashley. So if an enemy with a weapon is headed towards Ashley, but Leon is in the way, then he can grab Leon even if he has a weapon in his hand. This final part of the bulldozer sequence is a little bit tricky. So we want to try to knock as much of these guys off their ledges with the shotgun as we can before they make it onto the bulldozer. At this point, enemies can spawn Plagas, and if they do, they can cause a lot of trouble for us. We really want to have the bulldozer clear when this truck appears, because we have barely just enough time to destroy it with the striker before it kills us. Alright, so everything went smoothly there. So JoeKoh did a little reload cancel right before the truck hits. That's basically showing off, because you don't really need the striker after this. It's like maybe there's one or two places you could use it.
What are you buying? Come back anytime.
And then coming up here, we are gonna go reach the infamous Krauser cutscene. Basically, it's
favorite.
a three minute cutscene.
Yeah, 3-minute unskippable cutscene, and you can't even get up to use the bathroom because you gotta hit these QTEs. Yeah, so just a little fun lore fact for you all. So if you read the file on Ashley that you have at the beginning of the game, it mentions that that Ashley's kidnapper must have been an insider, and the reason that Leon needs to go into this village like undercover, basically with nothing but 2 beat cops as his backup, is because they can't determine who the traitor is, and that's Krauser. I don't know if that really makes much sense in real life, but that's the justification that the writers chose for
I'm
why
sure
Leon.
I'm sure I hit it. Unless my controller didn't register the click, I'm sure I hit it. Ah, okay, that's first.
Yeah, I can't think of any reason why in real life the president's daughter would be kidnapped in another country and they would send just one guy. But like at the beginning of the game, Leon, he's got his stylish jacket and his sidearm, so he's basically kind of going in like more like a detective than anything. Like almost like he's not really expecting anything except to just go in and ask some questions. I don't know.
Considering what Leon is carrying at the start, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
What do you want?
But I don't know, when your one guy is Leon S. Kennedy, maybe you can just send him.
Leave Ashley out of this. Oh, I needed her to buy some.
Alright, one fun fact about the QTEs in this game is because when the QTE shows up, there's only 2 possible combinations. On the controller, it will be your left and right trigger, or X and A, or on PlayStation, it will be like X and square button. And if you're on the keyboard, I believe it's X and C, or left click and right click. But the game doesn't actually know if you're doing it wrong, so it just checks for a correct input, so you can basically just spam all 4 buttons at the same time and you get it every time.
Yeah, I remember when this game was new, we actually thought this sequence was a challenge because we were trying to do it properly.
Almost let it slip.
but you can. But it turns out you can just mash all the buttons and get through basically every time.
Now we're done with the QTE section, and they still don't let you skip the cutscene, so you have to watch the whole thing.
Looks like we have the upper hand here.
You may be able to prolong your life, but it's not like you can escape your inevitable death, is it?
Sadly, you can't skip even after you're finished with the last QTE.
More or less. Maybe it's about time you told me the reason why you're here.
Maybe some other time.
All right, I'm back at it.
It's kind of cool in the remake they let you actually do the fight instead of like just like interactive cutscene.
Well, because a long cutscene with QTEs like that is long out of fashion by now. Because you know this game came out, made it popular, and then for a while every game was doing it, and eventually we got sick of it because we realized that it's basically just unskippable cutscenes.
Can I read a donation?
Sure.
Sure.
Alright, we have 10 euros from Lord Mouse, who put 5 euros from those 10 euros to the bonus boss fight for the next runner, actually, and his incentive. That's also already met, so we're gonna see the bonus boss fight. And then we have another 5 euros to singing while running, which is also an incentive for another run. And his comment is... Thank you very much for the donation.
Thank you. And now we're at another boss fight. Yep, so this is U3, otherwise known as It. For the first part of the boss, we have to deal with him while we're on these container rigs.
Oh, I did not do a quick turn there. I'm supposed to hit the QTE, but I missed it. That's fine.
Yep, so for whatever reason, Sadler's got all these containers suspended over a bottomless pit in an underground cave. Who knows why, but we have to get through them all in order to get through this boss fight. We can't kill U3 at this point, so there's no point in shooting him. So instead, we just run around him and hit these buttons as fast as we can. The container rig is in 3 parts. For each part, you need to hit these 2 buttons, and after that, you have 30 seconds to escape before the container rig drops.
There are ways to like bypass the QTE so you don't have to do the dodge prompt, but they are usually very precise, and that quick turn was one of them. They are usually very precise and hard to hit, so usually like when we are not feeling for it, we just hit the QTEs.
And
So
there, JoeKoh did a little clip to throw that grenade through the wall there. So you're not supposed to be able to hit that light from this side. You're supposed to have to hit the other door, or you're supposed to have to hit the other light first, run all the way around, and then run all the way back, and then run all the way around. We don't want to do that, so we use a little clip instead. The rocket launcher doesn't quite kill U3, so we gotta finish him off with a knife slash. I think the reason for that is because if you use the rocket while he's in his first phase, then it sets him to 1 hit point in his second phase. So then we just use the knife to take off that last hit point.
And we're just gonna run past this group of enemies, make our last purchase. This will be the last mission that we use in the game, and we are gonna go fight Krauser after this.
Yep, so here we're gonna sell some more of our beloved weapons. We're gonna sell the TMP. It has been our reliable companion this far, but we don't need it anymore. So instead, we're gonna sell it and replace it with the Killer 7. And also, one last rocket launcher, because always need a rocket launcher.
I'll also switch the mouse for this just because it's easier. So we're gonna hit some precise shots on Krauser.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know if that would work, but normally you're supposed to shoot him twice with the Killer 7. So Krauser pulled the pin of a grenade before JoeKoh shot him with the first time. That caused him to drop the grenade. So JoeKoh actually missed his second Killer 7 shot, but the grenade that Krauser dropped did damage to himself, and that did enough to cause Krauser to cross over to the other side of the chasm. So here you shoot Krauser twice. You have to get at least one headshot, and then you reload right before he throws the grenade, so that the flash cancels that reload.
Can I get it? Nope.
Now, didn't quite get the quick statue there.
Yeah, if you push the statue to a very precise point, you can just like directly push the statue onto the pressure plate instead of like having to push it back because of the wall is blocking it. But that is very, very precise, and if you don't get it, you waste like a few seconds trying to like fix it.
What is it that you fight for, comrade?
We are not gonna
Being
respond.
rude
This is
is a-
faster.
Being rude is a speed strat.
Prepare for your death, Leon.
Now we've got two of the three. We got two of the three keys we need. Krauser has the last one, so now's the final showdown. Sort of bait Krauser to slash a particular way that way, and that lets us knock him into this corner here, where we can quickly dispatch him with a knife. It's pretty well known by now, but in case you don't, Krauser has a secret weakness to the knife. So the knife does a lot of damage to him and staggers him, so we can especially with the Dipman glitch allowing us to swing even faster than we're supposed to, we can very quickly dispatch of Krauser there.
I believe it's the same way in the remake as well. You also do a ton of damage to Krauser with the knife in the remake.
So now we're at 5-4. This chapter is just pure chaos, basically. We kind of have a route through it, which a lot of the time should work. There's a lot of RNG. All right, so things are going well. So far.
The game had just turned from a survival horror game to a complete war zone.
Yes, this is basically where we go from playing Resident Evil to playing Call of Duty. So after we hit that lever, that saves a checkpoint. So we immediately load that checkpoint, and that despawns all the enemies who were just shooting all around us a second ago. Now we come into this part where there are 3 Gatling guns.
Then we're gonna hit the 2 levers to open the door, and hopefully the enemies cooperate, because RNG can happen. We should be fine.
Right, so we take out that one gunner and the shield guy. The other 2 gunners we're just gonna run past. That crossbow guy is basically just RNG. Sometimes he just shoots you in the back and there's not much you can do about it.
Yep,
So now we hit the second switch, and hopefully we'll be able to make it to the... that's unlucky. Alright, hopefully we'll be able to make it to the door without taking any more damage.
I hope we don't crash. Okay, we're good.
Yep, we're good. Yeah, and that door can sometimes trigger the infamous 5-4 crash. For whatever reason, the game likes to crash on that particular door. and nobody's found a way to fix it. So it can be pretty heartbreaking when you're on a good run and you get that crash.
Because saving is not permitted during a speed run, so if you crash, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to deal with it.
Yep, the run is over. Alright, and here, this is basically the last run, the last room in the game where we have to deal with a lot of enemies. After this, it's pretty much just small groups of enemies and then the final boss. So we throw our flash grenade that we just picked up, and we need to kill this guy with the red bandana because he's holding the key that we need. Yeah, Joe didn't actually need to equip the Killer 7 there. I think it was just muscle memory. But yeah, if this room goes perfectly, you would equip the flash grenade, equip the Killer 7, kill the red bandana guy, and then get up the ladder, and then you would switch away from the Killer 7 on the same inventory screen where you put the key in. Since going into the inventory takes time, we want to kind of combine our inventories if we can. Like if we can switch weapons and put a key in on the same screen, then we try to do that. Do a wait follow me to bait this guy, and then get through this door.
That Killer 7 switch was kind of like a backup, like a safety strat, like just in case if someone's on top of the ladder, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because sometimes there can be an axe guy at the top and he'll hit you. And because you're still in the deadman animation, then there's nothing you can do about it.
And here we are, final boss Sadler. It's kind of blink and you'll miss it. So you see we shoot him first in his leg eye and then in his face eye with the Killer 7. And then we shoot him in the face eye again with the rocket launcher. That triggers Ada to drop the special rocket launcher, and that instantly ends the boss fight. And just like that, Krauser's dead. So now...
you mean Sadler.
Yep, so now the island's rigged to explode. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, so that's the final boss fight of the game, and time is coming up really soon. We just gotta exit the island via the jet ski.
And JoeKoh's probably gonna do a funny glitch when he gets on the jet ski, so don't look away.
And see ya.
Yeah, so if you activate Ditman before you get on the jet ski, then Leon will be running at a faster animation than the jet ski itself, so they'll be desynced, and it's very humorous.
And time
also,
is coming up real soon.
Yeah, and also fun fact, these jet ski flips are not possible if you're playing with keyboard and mouse. They're hard coded so that you can only do them with controller, basically.
And time. Oh, I
Good
skipped
job.
Yep, that is Resident Evil 4, the original.
Finally.
GG.
GG's. So what was our final RTA time?
It was 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 54 seconds.
Oh wow, that is not too far from the Indian time.
Yep, so GG. It was a very well done run by JoeKoh.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Jugachi, for having us, and thank you to all those who donated. And thank you, chat, for being here.
Yep, so I am gonna proceed to set up for my next game, which is the House of Dead 4. So I guess, Shula, you can take your leave for now.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, sure. So I'm gonna go get set up real quick. It might take a while because it's on another platform and I
Yeah,
just set up the
we're
console.
gonna do a setup real quick and go into intermission. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thank you all for having me. See you next time.